This is Lizzie from Let Zoe Spoil You.
And Sagira from Sagira Salutes You. And together we are Newbie versus Weeaboo. Sagira, Newbie.
Lizzie, Weeaboo.
It's Newbie versus Weeaboo.
This podcast is brought to you by a veteran anime fan, myself Lizzie, who wanted to share their love with a friend. That would be Sagira, who is our newbie. Each week, I make Newbie watch an anime film, and we discuss it from the points of view of someone who has watched anime for 25 years, did a master's in Japanese culture, and spent time in Japan, versus someone who has watched the Death Note in dub.
So, Sagira, what did you think of this film?
I have 2 words written down for a synopsis: Robot Wars. Because the rest of it, what? I don't know if it's because my brain went off at some point, but I did not get that storyline.
It's a bit convoluted. I mean, okay, so the movie we watched today was Appleseed. Mm-hmm. And this is where I have one of those confessions that the Anime Kingdom is going to be like, but it's such a classic, it's such a... I never liked Appleseed. I didn't like it when I first saw it that much. I don't particularly like it. It was alright. But I never got into it the same way the rest of the fandom did.
What did you find unappealing about it?
I found it a bit dull compared to everything else that was coming out at the time. And, like, I liked Black Magic, M66, and I liked Dominion Tank Police. Oh, I suppose I should do the obvious. Did you get...
I saw that she was the same character, wasn't she? Because she looked exactly the same as the girl from Tank Police.
It's not the same character.
She looks like her. Just like her.
But it's Masami Nishiro. So, I wanted to give you a bit of the education of the Masami Nishiro, because he was, one of the big ones and groundbreaking and amazing and stuff. But of his works, this one was my least favourite of his works.
It did kind of drag a bit.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I think that might be why I didn't quite get the storyline, because I wasn't really following it. It wasn't the subtitles, unlike last time, unlike with Black Magic and 66, these subtitles seemed to go slower, so I could follow it a bit better.
Yeah.
But I couldn't follow the story.
Yeah.
I understand there's robots, I understand they wanted to change things because they weren't happy with the way the world was. But that's all I got.
The thing is, it's a really interesting world design. I mean, did you see the M66 reference at the beginning, the Easter egg?
Remind me.
Right at the beginning, you see the guns are lying on the seat on top of a manual that says M66.
Yes, I did see that.
Do you remember what Sybil was wearing right at the end of M66? She had a t-shirt on.
No.
Yeah, she had a t-shirt with Appleseed.
Oh, it all comes together.
Yeah, so I think they're set in the same world.
Right, yeah.
It's like, they're in the same world.
It's like Marvel Universe, but...
Yeah.
This universe.
Yes, but the difference in the settings is there's kind of the real world out there, and this, city is like a utopian city where these bioroids have been designed and they're created and birthed, and they are sent out into the world as, tools to help mankind, but in a way they've taken on all the more important jobs so humanity doesn't have to do them, so they can have idle, perfect, utopian lives. But the Human Revolution Unit are kind of thinking, but if you're not making your own decisions and you've got no adversity and nothing to strive for, will humanity still grow as a species? If you've got no hardships, if everything is given to you, where's left for humanity to go? If everything's just given to you and robots do all the hard jobs and this is the one city, this is the mecca for this culture, that as they're developing, they're sending more of these bioroids out into the rest of the world, including this new tank that they want to send out as this will be our robot enforcers, police, the police will all be robots, and then people will be super protected. And it's it's a bit overprotection, but So I get where the human revolution is coming from, but at the same time it's terrorism is never the answer.
So if it's all meant to be part of the same universe, why is it in Tank Police, if I remember, the buildings were quite squishy looking?
Oh, Tank Police is a different thing. Tank Police is not, I think, part of this.
So you think it's just Appleseed and Black Magic are the same?
I think so.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
I think Black Magic probably is set before this, and this is the future of what happens when they keep developing those kind of robot things and they've improved the technology. I think what happens, if I would timeline it, I think whatever happens in Appleseed doesn't work out, or ruins the planet, and then leads to Tank Police. if I had to put them all in the same world, I don't know if that's true, but that's just my headcanon. I think it started off with M66 and then it moves on.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
With the way that the world looks. I love the music in this.
I know.
It's proper 80s. I love the lounge music. Lounge music is one of my favourite forms. A lot of people hate it, but I love lounge music. The Sims soundtrack, Sims #1 soundtrack, is my absolute favourite album. I love putting it to everything, and this kind of has that kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
And I really do love it, so I was really happy to see that and hear that. So the robot at the start... Is it a robot or mech? What would you classify it?
I mean, I classify, if you have to get into it and pilot it, it's a mecha.
And then
if it's a robot, it's just, you don't pilot a robot. A robot is its own sentient being, and then there's some cyborgs and cybergenic things in between.
Okay, so this robot then, why did he look like a rabbit? Or was it just the design thing?
Just the design.
I couldn't get over the rabbit.
No. It's just various.
Less robot, more rabbit. I was just like... Why?
There's probably a reason for it, but as I said, because I was never big on Appleseed, and I never got why people liked it so much as everybody else. I get why it was like, you know, it was one of the first ones I came across, and it was something new and different, but it wasn't as exciting. And there were some other things that came out around about the same time that I'll show you later that I was like, no, I like this over here. This is, which probably shows that my taste can sometimes be a bit strange. But no, I mean, I like the social commentary in the world, but I find it slow paced and the characters aren't as engaging.
Yeah.
And also, I think that Sebastian character is a completely wasted character.
I don't know, was he a cyborg? Was he a man? What was he?
I'm just going with like cyborg.
Because there's a point where he becomes completely
robot,
but he used the toilet at the start.
So I think he was cybergenic. That's the thing, like, he must have started off human, otherwise why was he part of the human terrorists?
And why was he going to the toilet? Because the flush went, so he clearly used it.
He went to the toilet, and then he gave himself cybernetic limbs and a power suit. So it was a power suit over cybernetic limbs. I think his torso part was human, but his limbs. But they kind of gave him this cool suit and these limbs, and I was waiting for the bit where he's going to go out and do some fighting in that thing. And no, he just used that cool suit to pilot a robot and then got shot in the head, and you're like, the end.
Yeah, true. Yeah, there could have been some epic battle with that. But
it's been so long since I've seen it, because I didn't really like it the first time round. I thought, ooh, I wonder how this is going to play out with his suit. And it's like, oh.
Yeah, because in Black Magic, with the mechs in that, their fingers would like extend and do things, and it looked like his fingers would do the same thing, and it didn't.
No, it's really hard to compare it to like something that came before it that had more fluidity to it, more motion of the cameras, more interesting mech designs.
Well, they tried to do that in the little gazebo bit with the rotation, didn't they?
Yeah.
And that was quite nice because it was so different to the rest of it. And then the little plug home moment where it looked like you were going wee. But other than that, it was all kind of very static and stationary.
Yeah, it's a bit more stagnant, is that the word? Yeah, static. Yeah, just like, it's not as dynamic. I mean, it hasn't aged well.
And the animation is a lot softer than Black Magic as well. It's a bit more la-di-da rather than hard-hitting.
I think the actual manga is more hard-hitting, there's more backstory. I think the manga is better, but because I did not like this, I never went on to read the manga. So it didn't hit those notes I liked about this genre and this time period.
Also, going on about things that didn't really make sense, the robot, he ate and drank.
Yeah.
He was bleeding.
Yeah.
And he wore clothes. You know, that's my most favourite bit. The fact that he goes out in his lounge clothes.
I know.
I thought that was very amusing. But why? Like,
I thought he was a cyborg. Cybergenic.
But he has no face. Surely a head is important.
Yeah. Again.
Why is he bleeding? Like, I did not understand that. And at the end, he's in a wheelchair. It's like what?
He got shot in the stomach.
Yes.
But so they have to fix his organs. I think his organs must still be in there. He's just got a mecha suit around his body.
Or are they building robots with organic insides rather than just making them all cybertronic?
Yeah, I think. Well, the only bit I know from the manga is that her partner used to be human.
Right.
And something happened, and then he got turned into a mech.
This is why it's so important to read the mangas, because this stuff will make sense. It's It's like Alita. Like there's so much in the Alita mangas that you'll get from them that makes sense after watching the anime, because there's so many unanswered questions in the anime.
Yeah.
So yeah, reading the manga is very helpful.
And it probably, but because I was never big on this movie, I never went on to read the manga, so I was a bit like, interesting idea. Not for me.
I mean, this also goes back to with Black Magic and 66, where I was saying that, you know, a lot of the time they do futuristic stuff and it's not so much modern day. But this kind of blended the two together. It was a time now that was looking to go into the future. Because like we said, our cars, the buildings weren't that futuristic. The clothes looked like they were of a different time, but not enough to be like, you know, functioning in a different way. So this is kind of what I was expecting. I think Rojin Z has kind of like that same feel where it's kind
Rojin Z, it's modern but with a weird futuristic idea injected into it.
As if we are just starting to get into that technological age, rather than it's like here and now.
I feel like this one, the Utopian City, was obviously initially must have been designed by humans, but it's very much a vanity project. Which is why it looks so clean and perfect and like old school historical buildings rather than like the modern, because it's meant to be some like utopian but it just seems like a vanity project, that city.
And like something that I've noticed with a lot of the futuristic sci-fi things is no matter what time it is, no matter how far into the future it goes, guns are still very prominent. Like it's not like a futuristic laser gun or anything. There's always bullets.
Bullets, yeah. I think they just didn't, at the time of like this, they didn't see like what the next wave of weapons were, but they liked bullets. But I mean, there other things had laser guns by that point. I mean, Star Trek already existed with phasers, so they very much just wanted bullets.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, a laser seems like it could do more damage than a bullet. It's more direct than a bullet is. However, a bullet is more dramatic, I think.
Yeah.
Like, whereas a laser is like, pew, and it's like, done.
Yeah.
A bullet can like scatter and explode things, and you know, and like the fire coming off of it,
It's
all that
more
kind of stuff.
cinematic weapon.
Yeah. So I think that's why they still use the guns rather than any other sort of weapon.
Which it probably would in the future use something that's not bullets.
No, something that was easier to load, something that you didn't have to load as often.
Yeah.
Something that was lighter, etc., etc. Like, you know, so
and also, you would think in that time frame they would have like automatic targeting on weapons and stuff, so you wouldn't be trying to target with your eyesight.
1 o'clock, 5 o'clock, get to the centre. Yes. I really do love one of my favourite parts, other than the lounge clothing on robots.
Yeah.
My favourite was the 80s montage.
Yeah,
Like
that
a
is
proper
my
cop
favourite
show.
bit. It was like I like the buddy cop element, and then I just think the second half just dragged and went nowhere with its terrorists and politics, but kind of diet version. I'm like, it needed a feistier conclusion rather than Hitomi's got DNA that can be used to confuse the supercomputer.
Yeah, that was confusing as well. She stepped in the thing, everything went off, and then the big robot worked. It was like, what?
Yeah.
I obviously missed something.
It was
because
something
I
to
didn't
do with the fact
understand it.
that, like, her genetic programming and makeup, it was able to turn Gaia off, and Gaia was the supercomputer, but apparently stepping in a room was all it took. And then the reason to get Gaia to work was just shoot it in its hole. and then the giant spider mech was just like, and now I fall down. I'm like, cool, this is epic. Ooh,
It wasn't as
it had
amazing.
it had some big stakes and some big. I mean, I love the design of the big robot ship, but it kind of was like, ooh, look at all these big and interesting things, terrorists, like social commentary, like giant mechas, cool suit with like, you know, he's had his looking claw hands, and it was like, and then nothing happened with any of it. A girl stepped into a room, and then they ran down a tunnel and shot a computer.
And then the big robot fell down.
Yeah, he got shot in the knee and a bit in his tummy, but we're not entirely sure why he's got organs in there if they replaced his body.
It was very confusing.
Yeah.
Had good bits, but
Yeah.
the alarm's going off.
I think the neighbours have burnt the toast.
Fab. So, anything else you want to talk about?
Not really.
What would you give this out of
5 many-legged ship mechs. 5 lounging robots.
Yes. What would you give this out of lounge clove wearing robots?
It's about a 2 for me because I find it lackluster. It's not dire, it's totally watchable, and I get its impact, and I like some of the world, and I like some of the like social commentary, but it is a bit lackluster and underused for me. It's just, it doesn't have the same impact of other things I loved from this time period.
I'm going to have to agree and give it a 2, especially off of watching Black Magic M66, because after watching that and then watching this, it didn't seem as epic. It was as, even though I didn't read the subtitles the way that I read the second one, and I could keep up with the second one a lot better. The first one, like you said, Black Magic, it was kind of self-explanatory through what they were doing. So I could keep up with the story. It was a bit faster. It had a good conclusion and everything.
Yeah.
So after watching that, yeah, this didn't seem as amazing.
And I mean, and I get the plight of like Karen, whoever his name is pronounced, Karen.
Colon, as I kept calling
Yeah, like, I get, like, that's tragic. Yeah, his wife was having a bit of a nervous breakdown because she felt like a bird in a cage, and there was all that lovely metaphor, and he's like, no. And I get that, but at the same time, I was like...
I kept forgetting about it.
Yeah, I was like, oh, yeah.
Every time I mentioned it, it's like, oh, yeah, that happened. But I didn't hang on to it.
No. I
No.
was like, oh, yeah. It's a bit sad what happened to you.
But yeah, I think after watching such a good one as Black Magic, this didn't
No.
translate in the same way.
No. I totally agree. Thank you for watching the episode, and if you want to hear more from me, you can find me on these social medias.
And if you'd like to know more about me, you can find me on these social medias.
And from a Weeaboo, it's Johnny!
And from a newbie, it's bye-bye.